Welcome to our channel, Behind My Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
Hi, I am Ralph. I am 19 years old. I have simple secret that I like my mother. Don't judge me, just listen to my story. I had a quiet family, kind mother and loving father. We had stable lives in our far state. But as you know, there is no place for happy life in our world. There was a turning point in life, and it came quickly with me. It was a nice day in our garden. Me, my mother, and my father. My father was sitting under a tree reading a book. Me and my mother were playing football. Suddenly, Mom overshot and the ball went into the street. I was too young to think. I just ran quickly to pick the ball. There was a fast car. The driver was screaming at me, "Stay away!" But I did not. My mother sacrificed herself to rescue me. I fainted, and when I woke up, I saw my mother's blood everywhere. My father was crying. There were a lot of people. Our lives changed to be gloomy. He was surrounding me by many looks. I thought he blamed me because of her death. He was so sad. I left my friends. I did not talk with people. I was just 8 years old. I was thinking of killing myself. I would like to escape from this blame. Suddenly, my father decided to marry. I shocked because I could not imagine any other woman instead of my mother at home. He said in a firm voice, "She will be at home soon." He asked me to be a good boy. I entered my room and started crying. I could not imagine. But I decided to annoy her. When she prepared food, I immediately threw it. Her only reaction was a kind smile. While my father was staying at home, I insisted by bothering her by doing a lot of noisy things. My father was shouting, and she always protected me. I said to myself, maybe she is a good woman, and she loves me. One time, while she was cooking, she had a phone call from a hospital. It was an urgent matter. I was watching TV. She came in to me and said, "Ralph, my sister is in the hospital and I have to go. Can you take care of cooking?" I did not care. She smiled and went out. I went to the kitchen and turned up the heat to burn the food. But the fire did not just burn the food, it started to burn home too. There was fire everywhere. I could not breathe. Then I fainted. I woke up, but I did not know where am I. I looked around and saw my stepmother sleeping. She looked exhausted, and there was cinder on her face. Suddenly the door opened, and I discovered that I was in the hospital. The nurse said, "Get well soon." I asked her what happened. She told me that there was a big fire at our home, and my mother is a brave woman. She entered home and rescued me in the last moment. I looked at her. I discovered that she is a great woman. She woke up suddenly and asked me, "Are you okay?" I hugged her and cried. I said, "Sorry for everything." She said, "It is okay. I can understand." I considered her my mother. I started to help her in everything at home. She helped me a lot. I supported her a lot until her last illness. Today, I'm standing in her gravesite. I want to tell her that I love her a lot.
Beauty has myriad aspects. Some girls have a beautiful exterior, but with an ugly personality on the inside. Some are ugly on the outside, but have a beautiful personality. Some are average on the outside, but inside are very educated and elegant in behavior. This is where the idea of the Miss World contest originally came from. The girl who has the most aspects of beauty overall should be able the title. But what if a girl is beautiful in every way except for the external beauty that is valued above all other aspects? Does she really stand a chance at all? My name is Naomi, and I am 16 years old. I live with my mom and two sisters. I am the middle daughter. My dad died a long time ago in a horrible train accident, leaving Mom to raise us alone. So she taught us to be independent, to trust in ourselves, and to determine our own paths in life. We excelled at school and had plenty of friends. But life didn't give us everything. There is always a blemish on anyone's life. For me, it was beauty. I was boringly plain looking. No one wanted to date me. But I was okay with that because I knew that most boys were idiots, concerned only about a pretty face, even if that pretty face belonged to an empty-headed dimwit. Our school held an annual beauty contest based solely on external beauty, so I figured that it was time to change the rules of the game. I went to the teacher responsible for organizing this contest and suggested that this year's contest be a multifaceted beauty contest. I explained about considering internal aspects of beauty, such as maturity, responsibility, social interactions, academic performance, environmental awareness, character, personality, talent, hobbies, aspirations, etc. The teacher smiled and told me that she didn't have the control in this matter, but said she would speak with the principal. She asked for 2 days to try to persuade him. The 2 days crawled by at a snail's pace, but I was rewarded by my new rules adopted for this year's beauty contest. It would focus on both the inner and outer aspects of beauty. The student body was divided on the issue. My group cheered the new rules, but Emily's group hated it. Emily had won the school's beauty contest for the previous 2 years. She was as beautiful as a Walt Disney princess. Long blonde hair, lovely soothing voice, green eyes, elegant posture, but snobbish, vapid, shallow, narrow-minded. She testily asked the air, "Whose idea were these stupid new rules?" "Mine," I answered simply. She glared at me and told me that the old rules had been the standing rules for eons and couldn't be changed. But I corrected her by telling her that everything changes. She dismissed me with a wave of her hand by telling me that it didn't matter, that she was a shoo-in to win anyway, regardless of any stupid rule changes. I read the flyer about the contest and the new rules. One facet to be evaluated was how well a student contributed to the school's goals of fostering kindness and learning. Another facet was one's talent and hobbies like poetry, drawing, acting, or singing. Another was general knowledge of the world. And yet another was about etiquette, politeness, and manners. I put my plan into motion to win this contest from vain, brainless Emily. Still, she seemed so confident that I felt like I had no real chance of actually beating her. The contest, which would span several days, began. The first phase of the competition was on the social aspects of beauty. Emily chose to woo the students by distributing roses and chocolates to them. In addition, she flirted with the more popular boys to get them and their friends to like her. Other contestants distributed different things to students. I needed to do something distinctive and unexpected, something genuinely useful. So I summarized the semester's school subjects for the students so they could study more easily and efficiently for their final exams. I also asked Mom to prepare healthy lunches for them. My ideas were well received. The next phase was general knowledge. The judges paired everyone with a rival. The winners of those pairs would then be paired repeatedly until only one winner emerged by elimination. I was paired with Emily. Favoring her external beauty, the judges asked her easy questions. Me, I got the challenging questions. But despite this biased treatment, I answered all the questions correctly. The next part was about artistic talent. Emily was an excellent actress. Imagine that. She portrayed a stage scene and won well-deserved praise for her performance. My talent was drawing. I drew an intricate drawing and recited a poem. My heart was pounding during my poem recital, but I managed to receive vigorous applause. Emily was staring daggers at me. If looks could kill, my death would have eliminated me from the contest at that very moment. The next phase of the contest focused on costumes. I told Mom that I didn't see how I could possibly beat Emily, but she continued to encourage me and believe in me. Her words inspired me. When I woke up that day, I was surprised by a new dress in my closet. It was so stylish and fit my form perfectly. It made me look like Cinderella. I wore it and went to the school. All the girls were beautifully dressed, as was I, I'm happy to say. I did well in this phase. The final phase would be judged on external beauty. The judging began, and all the contestants were so beautifully made up, with expensive hairdos and elegant sparkly dresses, that my spirit plummeted as my chances of winning seemed almost nil. Then suddenly, I had a crazy idea. I whispered in Mom's ear and went into the restroom. When they called my name, I walked up onto the stage in clean, neat, everyday school clothes, with no makeup and no fancy hairdo. Just plain old me. I asked the judges for permission to speak, and they allowed it. Directing my speech to the students present, I explained that my external appearance was not what true beauty was about. Yes, I could dress up and smile for one day to impress the judges. But what about the other days of the year? People's outward appearance should be respectful, decent, and proper all the time. When I finished my speech, it was met with enthusiastic applause, even by the judges. Now it was time to announce the overall winner of the contest. As is typical, they announced the third place winner, then the second place winner. I hadn't heard my name yet and was sure that Emily's name was about to be announced for first place. When I heard my name announced for first place, I screamed with joy. I couldn't believe it. Everyone was cheering for me, and Mom was looking so proud. After the contest was over, a shy but well-mannered and well-behaved boy came over and asked me for a date. I turned toward Emily and smiled sweetly. She didn't return my smile. Well, long story short, a plain Jane, me, won the overall contest and proved that even an ugly duckling can be loved for its inner beauty. My son killed me. Yes, you read that correctly. I am not a ghost or an evil spirit that needs rescuing. I have a brave heart. My name is Megan, and I hope to inspire you with my story. I lived with my father and my sister Marlene after the death of my mother, who died from an illness. Though I was only 18 years old, I became responsible for taking care of my whole family. I did everything for them, like cooking, cleaning, washing, etc. My father was a great man, and he did his best to make us happy. I supported both my sister and my father. We faced a lot of problems together, illnesses, financial problems, school, and the like. But there came a day when I had to make a life and death decision at my young, tender age. I fell in love, as any girl my age tends to do. My sweetheart turned out to be loved my neighbor, a guy named Dave. We had grown up together, and we shared everything. Love, sadness, jokes. Our dreams had evolved as we grew up too, so we decided to marry. He knew all about my life circumstances, so he chose a flat near my family for me. We had a nice party and celebrated with our families and friends. Every day, he proved himself to be a responsible man. He loved and respected me, and I him. Finishing my studies was one of my dreams, and Dave supported me in every way to achieve it. But my biggest dream was to have a baby. But sometimes life just isn't fair. One day, while cleaning the house, my heart began beating rapidly, and I couldn't breathe well. I was barely able to call out to Dave, who came immediately when he heard me cry for help. I had had this symptom before when I was younger, but I never told my father because I didn't want to worry him. Dave took me to the hospital, where a doctor said I had a serious heart condition. And not only that, I was pregnant too. Pregnancy and a heart condition do not a good combination make. So we had to choose between the baby's life or mine. My father and Dave asked me to abort the baby, though they tried hard to persuade me. I resolutely refused. I agonized a lot during my pregnancy. My father and Dave were so worried for my safety. My father and Marlene left their flat to live with me. In addition, Dave cut back on his working hours to stay with me. The day came when I went into labor. They took me to the hospital, where the doctor checked me over and pronounced that my condition was so serious that I wouldn't be able to survive the childbirth. My family and I were shocked. I held Dave's hand and told him that I was strong enough to survive this. Dave hugged me, crying tears like a river. I was so afraid, but I did my best to hide that fact. I looked to my protruding belly and said to my baby, I want you to know that I sacrificed myself for you. You had better grow up to be a great young man. I love you. Then the baby started pushing its way into this world. The scene fades to blackness. The baby is born. Suddenly, a year later, a birthday party is being held. The baby is now 1 year old. A woman is singing with the baby and her family. The woman looks at you and winks. Megan says, "Haha, fooled you. I lived through the childbirth. Sometimes life gives us a second chance, but you have to be willing to accept the risk."